Welcome to another episode of Morning Mojo with me, your host, Shane Solomon. As always, I'm delighted to have amazing people on the sofa, and today is no exception. I've got Kate Clark with us here today on Morning Mojo, and I'm going to get straight into the content with how Kate starts her day. Kate, how do you start your day?
I start it with a smile always because I sleep really well. I wake up happy every day. I never have an alarm because I wake up happy, and then I have coffee, and then I swim in the sea
Wow.
every day.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Even what, in the winter?
Even in the winter. Yeah.
That's remarkable.
And I live in St Austell Bay, so there's always shelter somewhere. So no matter how cold it gets, I swim.
Now, I'm going to pick you up before I get into my questions and everything, just from that, because I'm always happy and things like how do you do that? How do you stay happy? Give us some kind of hints here.
It's about I don't do overthinking. I don't do stress. I don't worry about stuff. So yeah, I keep it simple
Okay.
and
And
I
living in the
keep it
now?
living in the now, keeping it
Mm.
chilled.
Mm.
So I don't go to bed stressing about anything. So I sleep like a baby. 7.5 hours, wake up happy.
Wow. What, just straight through?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is
It's no wonder
just,
I wake up happy, is it?
I
It's
was going to
just
say, yeah, that's, I think people would be tuning in and say, how do you just sleep right through? Any tips for that? Just don't overthink things.
Yeah. But I think sea swimming plays a big part in it because, that's a great it stops all the head noise. Um, and the work that I do as a coach, I work with a coach. I talk through whatever's going on. I'm really conscious of what I'm thinking, how I'm being, and yeah, I have a lot of stillness around me. Hasn't always been the case, so I know what it's like to spiral and overthink and have a different kind of reality, but not anymore.
Because it's all about learning, right? You get to this stage of your life. I've certainly got to a stage in my life where I'm thinking, I'm learning things that I didn't
Hmm.
know. And the thing is, when you're younger, you think you know everything, don't you? You really do.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, the older you get, the better it is.
I would agree with that.
And yeah, when I got to 50, which is nearly 10 years ago.
I can't believe this, but go on. I'll let you have your moment.
Yeah, nearly 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, what's it going to be like? And honestly, that decade, 50 to 60, has been the best decade. You've just grown up enough. You've got your own voice. You know what you want. Life's just, it's no longer about all the shoulds and, other people's agendas.
Mm,
So I think you grow into yourself.
sure.
Um, and so, yeah, it feels
Okay.
good.
So let's talk about prior to all this unicorns and rainbows. Let's talk about challenges in the past that's kind of shaped you into the way you are now. And how you overcame them at the time. Any challenges?
Hmm, yeah. So quite a long time ago now, like 14, 15 years, my life took a turn that I hadn't expected and it rocked me to the core, actually. Um, so I was suddenly starting a new life and I just didn't know how to do that. So somebody said to me, I know a coach, a life coach. I think she'd be great. So all those years ago, and that was quite a new thing in this country. It's much
Sure.
more
America's all
popular in
over
the
it. Yeah, of
States.
course.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so working with her for a year, 18 months was pivotal in me becoming me. And I let go a lot of the um, blame that I had for myself, judgment of myself. So yeah, that was a big stepping stone, but that was a huge challenge and an unexpected challenge. So now it's what's really true, whatever the thought is that comes in. Do I even see it as a challenge, or do I see it as something that I'm going to work through? So it's that use of language as well, because if you go into your day thinking, God, it's going to be a difficult day, then it probably will be. But if you go into it thinking, I'm ready for whatever today is, Um, so how we speak to ourselves makes such a difference. So I don't have challenges anymore. I just have things that I dare to do that I haven't done before, like this, for example.
Exactly right. I know. I'm always impressed by people that come onto this podcast,
Mm.
never done one before. And it's not just like the audio version. And yes, it is. We have cameras here as well, and it's on YouTube. And excuse me. So yeah, but it's stepping out of the comfort zone
Hmm.
sometimes, and to get comfortable, we have to get you know uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I love that you said comfort zones there because I consciously don't have comfort zones anymore. Then there's never so I'm daring to do this,
sure.
but it's not it's outside of my comfort zone, so I won't do it. It's it's just a thing,
Mm.
a new day, a new experience. And not having comfort zones has been very freeing because yeah, nothing feels unachievable.
Let's talk about motivation. Where do you get your motivation from? Where are you fueled?
I'm fueled from knowing that I can help people to create their lives to be how they want it to be. So it's about creating different outcomes from people so that they move away from their default future and they own their journey and they can create a future to be however they want it to be. So that motivates me. And I've experienced that. You know, my future is very different from the one I kind of thought I'd have. Um, but it's a great one. So I I I'm driven by sharing that so that other people can experience that. So when people say, "Oh, I feel stuck," or I can't see a way out, or I'm at a crossroads, then would you like some help with that? And it's their agenda and whatever they want to explore, we explore. And the change and the transformation is permanent. So this isn't a short term thing. This is a change on the inside. Actually, it's not even change. It's whatever's in there. Your wisdom, it's already there. It's just that there's all these little pesky thoughts that get in the way and tell you different stories. But so I help people get back to what's really there. That's the motivation and seeing it happen. So, you know, how privileged am I to watch and help people get to a place that's so far away from where they were. So that motivates me.
Do you ever get frustrated where you see people that could do with your help and you know you could help them, but they don't see it themselves and they don't want to engage or, for whatever reason? Because I've seen people um, or coaches and that see people and they don't see that they need the help or they don't believe, they think it's hairy fairy or whatever,
Mm.
Do you ever get those kind of frustrations?
Never a frustration.
Okay. I
Um,
knew you was going to say that as soon as I said that word. You are good. I'm good with that.
it's people will come and look for help when they're ready.
Sure.
Um, and that's okay. So I would never needle somebody if I thought you could really do with this. I could really help you
Mm.
because then they're not ready. And they'll know when they're ready. And I might have a conversation with somebody, a one conversation, and it might be a year before I have another conversation. And then they'll be, do you remember that chat we had 2 years ago? I'm ready to work on that now. And as well, when we were chatting earlier, we were talking about um, being reactive, but actually being proactive. So, and there are two sides to that. You know, a lot of the work I do is people reach a point when they're like, I need some help with this. But actually, what I do isn't fixing or teaching. So it can be really proactive, so that you don't find yourself needing something as some sort of an emergency, you know, with mental unwellness, because proactively caring for yourself, we go to the gym, we eat well, so we're proactive in that kind of wellness. You do. But we choose to be less proactive with our mental wellness. um and essentially that's a lot of what coaching is. It helps um change perspective so that there isn't um unwellness there. And there's some sort of, there's a stigma still. If people say to me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a life coach, I watch them go, ooh. um, but if they say to me, what do you do? And I say, I create stillness for busy people. They're like, I'm busy. What happens? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's a great way of introducing yourself and what you do.
Mm.
Sure. Because when people ask me, I just say, I just make friends for a living. And that's it.
Yeah, you do.
I really do. And they go, how do you do that? Um, confidence and self-belief.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay.
So this podcast was put together really to inspire, motivate people. What kind of advice do you have for people for building their confidence and their self-belief?
That's a lot of the work I do with people is about exactly that. And we explore what are the thoughts that they're having and how are those thoughts making them feel and what's true. So, there can be an event and then we interpret the event and that creates an experience. So we can think, God, that was terrible. That was awful. And it's the thought. And we think it was awful. So we feel awful and it drags us down. Um, so I uh, encourage whoever I'm talking to be curious and they'll do the I am unconfident. I have imposter syndrome, all of those things. Like, okay, let's explore the thought. How's that making you feel? How would you like to feel? What thought do you need to make you feel how you want to feel? And we're judging ourselves. When we say I'm not confident, it's a belief. It's not a fact. Like I'm 5'3" and I've got brown hair. Those are facts. But anything else is pretty much a story and a belief, and it can feel really real. It can feel really real. But in stillness, with time, you can reflect differently and you can be different. I'm working with a coach and he did an experiment with me 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he said, okay, write down all of your I am thoughts that are negative. And so I did, had about 50. Um, and sitting in that negative place, what a week I had. I was like, what's happened to me? And I was like, oh, is like 50 negative I am thoughts changed me completely because that's not where I normally come from.
Of course.
Um, and I know it's a really real experience and it takes a long time sometimes, but it's possible to have a different belief, create a different belief, a different story, a different reflection so that you come from a place that doesn't have that thought anymore.
See, I love thought. I could talk about thought on this I should have called it the Morning Thought podcast, really. But yeah, I mean, where did your belief in the way you start thinking now? Because you kind of always thought this way. What was the kind of turning moment for your belief system in what you've become into coaching? Because you've got a corporate background. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. So I have a background in HR.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been dealing with people and their experiences and beliefs for a very long time. For me, it came from that event in my life
Okay.
14 years ago and the subsequent work with a coach
Okay.
because I didn't trust that my instincts were right. And then I questioned myself. And then the belief about myself and the lacking of confidence, all of those things were there. So um, I've lost my thread. Ask me something else.
Yeah. Okay. um, do you have a favorite book that you would recommend at all?
I do. I have two books that I love. One is very much for coaches. So it's The Prosperous Coach by Steve Chandler and Rich Litvin.
Yeah.
And that's a Bible. for coaches. And for people I work with, I often suggest to them that they read Being Human by Amy Johnson. And you'd love it. It's a whole book about thoughts.
Okay.
And one of her great quotes, and I'm not going to be saying this word for word,
Sure.
but it's about, don't let the clouds block your own sunshine. But it's a great book. So if there's anything going on that your thoughts are getting in the way of your sunshine, then she has some great chapters in there about all sorts of things.
What do you do when it's not working?
I'm at the beach. I'm swimming. But most of the time it's working. But I did have a difficult time in my life a couple of years ago. I was looking after my dad. He was really sick and he was diagnosed terminally ill. And so that was an incredibly tough time. And 1 hour a day, it was just me and my mum looking after him. And mum would say, okay, dad's settled and I'm okay. Go to the beach and do your swim. Because I know that that's where my stillness is and the weightlessness, all of those things. So if it wasn't going well, it would be at the beach. But I'm doing the whole proactive thing. I'm at the beach every day anyway. So it keeps me well, keeps me strong. Just lightness. And the lightness when you're in the water, it's the same lightness in my mind. So yeah, it's whether it's going well or whether it's not going well, that constant is the swimming.
It's very inspiring. I said in the green room before filming that it's just really relaxed around you. I'm just like I'm stillness, and right now I'm just like chilled right out. It's only Monday whilst we're recording this, and I'm like, yeah. But what about those people who are finding this on Spotify or on YouTube, wherever they're finding this for the first time? I think, well, it sounds easy enough for you, but we're in a busy old life, mobile phones going all the time, we've got kids, we've got this. It's easy for her to say, and they're at that stage. Is that when they go and get a coach? Is that when they speak to you? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be ready. You have to want something to be different, but also to acknowledge that it's not just the way you are. It's not just the way it is. There are choices. And when you get to a crossroads when you think, oh, I just need something to be different, that's a great time to reach out. And it's about that individual consciously choosing to do something different. Thing number one, reach out to me, somebody who does the same kind of work that I do, and commit to taking time away, because it is possible. There is always choice. It's just that the beliefs we tell ourselves, mobile phones, we're never off them.
no.
So it's possible to make a
But
choice.
you are, though.
Absolutely.
Stillness.
Stillness, yeah. Queen of stillness. Just call me that.
Yeah, I think I will. My usage is about 9 hours a day on that thing. 9 hours a day is a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot.
But thankfully, I don't have to wear glasses. Because I always thought... Do you know what? Let's use the thought thing. I've not said this on the podcast before. I was prescribed glasses at school at the age of probably 14, something like that. Back in the day when they used to do the eye test stuff at school. I don't know if they still do. And I saw all my mates having to have these national health glasses. Oh my God, I'm not wearing those. That is just not happening. And anyway, I just thought back then, no, because if I have glasses now, then my eyes are going to get worse and worse and rely on them. And by the time I'm 60, I'll be like jam jars because, and I thought, no, I don't need that. I'll be fine. I'll just focus more. I'll train my eyes. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, 42. Where have you gone?
There you are. I'm over here.
I'm hearing the voice, really. That's how I'm seeing where you are. But seriously, though, I've not had to have glasses.
That's amazing.
And when I went to the eye test guy the other day. He said, "Shane, do you want your eyes checked?" I said, "No, I want to keep them brown." But seriously, then he said, "You see the they have the big letters and they go smaller, smaller, smaller." He said, "Can you read the letters at the bottom of that?" And I squinted a bit. And I went, "Yeah, made in China." And he goes, "Yeah, that's it." He said, "There's nothing wrong with your eyes." I could read it clear as day as well.
Good story.
But that's a thought thing. It might sound a bit hairy-fairy. It's not, I'm telling you.
The power of our own thoughts and the impact of them on us is huge, but we're not always aware of it.
Awareness, that's another thing. That's another great skill to become good at.
Yeah. So creating awareness, and understanding that you don't have to feel the way you're feeling, and reaching out, as I said, 15 years ago, I was like, oh God, everything that I know has crumbled. 2 choices. But also, people come to me as well, sometimes after deep trauma, sometimes as something much less complicated. I just want it to be different. Or like the whole, the kids, they leave school, they go to university, and you're like, oh, now what? Or like coming up to retirement, whatever that is. Okay, if you're 60, you could have another 30-year career if you wanted. I'm going to live till I'm 108. My kids are super excited.
Yeah, right. That's pretty accurate as well.
It's a very spiritual number.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, spiritual. I wish we had longer now because I can talk for hours on that subject. Okay, well, so what is it all about, life? Sum it up then. I feel I can ask you that question. I can ask every guest that. But, we're here for a relatively short time, really, even if it's 108 years in the whole time of existence.
Oh, God, yeah.
So what is this all about? What would you describe it as, this spiritual journey we're on, this life journey that we're all on?
I would say be in the now. Just be in the now, because the past is gone and you can't predict the future no matter how hard you try. So own your journey, be in the now, and love it. And if you're not loving it, change it.
I like it. For things to change, we have to change. I keep saying that, a great Jim Rohn quote there.
Yeah. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And that can be quite a tough reality sometimes. I don't like what I've got, but change it. Oh my God, no.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
In which case, if you're not changing it, it must be okay.
Quite. Indeed. Well, this can't be bothered. Listen, this is meant to inspire you, this podcast. So hopefully you listen to what Kate's got to say here and think, I'm going to crack on and do that today. And that's what it's all about. Kate, for those people who want to find out more about you, where's the best place to go? Website, social media? What's the best place?
LinkedIn,
Okay.
Kate Clark. That's quick and easy. Yeah.
Okay. And is that your kind of preferred way of communicating as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
And on there, there's contact details, there's email, there's mobile, there's a calendar, booking a chat, there's a let's chat calendar thing. Hop on and and that all links back through to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm the Anchors Coach. Yeah, the Anchors Coach on Instagram. And those 2 places. It's so easy, isn't it, now, to just message people, message on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on, wherever.
We're living in certainly an age of an abundance of communication tools, that's for sure. But look, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you today. I know we'll stay connected now for sure. There's so many more things I could ask you about, but I've actually gone over time. I knew I would with you. But hopefully you've enjoyed your first experience of the studio and the podcast. And
Yeah. It's a great experience. It's a very lovely studio. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Well, that's all because I've got good people around me. So as always, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Jay Kennett, who's produced this podcast today for us, behind the scenes on the switch and everything. And as always, I'd like to wish you the most amazing remainder of your day. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for sharing, liking, and loving our podcast. And I will see you in the next episode. But for myself and Kate, so goodbye for now and see you soon. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.